Okay, we got some folks from all over the country. I'm so excited that you are all here. I am a people person, and so for me to connect with people face to face is really important to me. And so thank you all for coming on here this morning. Some of you were on a call that I did for the very first time last week, and this is sort of my first big go at what this all looks like. So I'm going to ask for some grace today because I'm still learning the Zoom technology, and I really want this to be sort of an open forum this morning where you all get to connect with each other. I think that we're going to find some normalcy about what we're feeling. Connect with each other, kind of connect with a little bit of a teaching that I have here today. I'm going to start with a little bit of intentionality this morning, and I'd like you to put in the chat box one thing that you are grateful for today. Some of you might have a gratitude practice. I feel that being thankful for what we have and having a gratitude practice is really important, especially in kind of the phase that we're in right now and what we're going through. So if you can take a minute and just share in the chat box, what's one thing that you're grateful for today? If you want to, you can come off mute and share with us as well if you'd like, because I know some of you might be on your phone and can't exactly get to a chat box. Seen a lot of family and health, sunshine, yes. Time for reflection, yes. Companies that were ready to do this, the whole work from home thing, trying to stay connected in that time. Slowing down, yes, Wanda. Isn't it interesting how the good Lord puts us in neutral, even when we're not ready for it, but maybe we need it, right?
Awesome.
Oh yes, thank you for that. Today, how this is going to go is I'm going to open up with a little bit of motorcycle speak. If you will allow me to indulge my pleasure, if you will, of sharing life's metaphor of motorcycling. And then we're going to move into a little bit of a time of teaching. And that will involve some journaling, maybe some reflection, and then we're going to bring it up. Also, I think in some communication, we're going to talk about it, discuss it. Because I want you guys to feel a sense of normalcy, that you're not in this alone, right? I'm a big Brene Brown fan, like hashtag girl crush is what I always say. And we're wired for connection. And one of the ways that we can be connected is by feeling this idea of common humanity, that we're all in this together. And if you're getting all the emails from the organizations around the country that you do business with or that you're a customer of, that's sort of the thread of the message that they're running through their ads on TV, all the emails and all the media that we're getting is we're all in this together. So I think we can be totally proof of that as well. And then the very last part, the coach in me wants to know, so what? You know, I want this to be time that we really dive in and decide how we're going to make shift happen in our lives. And so I hope that you will walk away with one thing that will help you get through the next 60, even the next day, right? 30, 60, 90 days and what this all means. I don't want to call this our new normal yet. I think it's kind of the temporary thing that we're in right now, but we all have to make decisions about what our new normal is going to be looking like. Like my goal today is just to give you a place to be, to give you a space that you can connect, create some normalcy, and yeah, walk away with something going forward. Some of you know that motorcycling obviously is a big part of my life, and I know that we have two people for sure that ride on here. By show of hands, who are our riders out there? Okay, Wasn't sure if anybody else has ridden before or not, but what I love to do is teach people about motorcycling. And I love to teach people about how to ride and how to ride safely. And one of the very first skills that I get to teach motorcyclists, after I teach them how to balance, after I teach them clutch control and how to get the motorcycle moving and then how to stop the motorcycle, the next thing I teach them is how to shift and how to shift gears. How many of you have ever driven a stick shift before? If I can see your hands, how many of you have ever driven a stick shift before? So why do we shift gears? You can come off mute and let's just, you can answer that question, but why do you think we shift gears?
We're adapting to the environment. So like if you're going on a big hill, you shift down, you know, and then if you're on a highway, you know, you probably want to be in your highest gear because that's where you get the best gas mileage.
Yes. Yes. Very cool. Thank you. We shift gears to match our road speed and our gear speed. And so what happens, do you think, that when you are going slow and you are in a high gear, things start to chug along, right? Like, and you have to downshift in order to match the power that you need with the speed that you're going to. And so it does it to help us have a smoother ride, if you will, and that we're using the optimal power and the greatest power in our engine because we're matching how fast we're going with the gear that we're supposed to be in. Shifting gears, I think, is a perfect metaphor for what we're kind of going through right now. I don't know about you, but I was throttling along at a pretty good clip when all of a sudden my world shifted, which caused a pretty big shift and kind of stopped any forward momentum that I have had in my life, and it caused a pretty big dissonance in where I was heading, where I wanted to go. Kind of took the power right out of my journey, if you will. Everything kind of came to a screeching halt, and my business, I guess, is where I'm kind of feeling the greatest shift in my world right now. All my conferences have been canceled. I was scheduled, actually I would have been in Virginia right now, in Virginia Beach, giving a keynote. I was gonna follow that up with a 2-day Dare to Lead workshop. A lot of my stuff has been canceled, which has opened up a lot of time on my calendar that I wasn't anticipating. But I'm curious, I'm gonna give you just a minute to think about this and reflect on this, but where has the biggest shift been in your life as a result of what's been happening out there lately? What's the greatest shift in your world?
Being on hold.
Being on hold?
I'm a planner. I'm a planner, you know, I'm always planning ahead and planning for others. And, you know, right now we just kind of have to wait and see for everything we do because we really don't know. We really can't project, you know, 30, 60, 90 days or a year right now. We can barely project tomorrow. We never know when something new is going to be applied to us in our city or our community.
Right. Yeah.
I think daily we're getting new news in the morning where then all of a sudden the governor or mostly the governor comes on and makes one more new change. But I was an Uber driver working on a startup. And so I'm in Phoenix and we were in the middle of spring training. So we really did literally go from running 100 miles an hour to I probably quit driving Uber about a week before they called the spring training. I just got real nervous about bringing it home to my mom.
Yes.
And so I went from being gone from the house about 40 hours a week and driving like literally sometimes you can close your eyes and see the traffic coming at you because you do that much. So you're driving all over the city like a mad woman, and all of a sudden you're not going anywhere. So it was like I ran into a brick wall.
So yeah, like a change of pace in your life.
Mhm.
Yeah. What else have you guys, where else have you seen the shift happen? Those of you who are putting it in the chat, let me hear from you.
My work has, I'm in HR, and so my world has just exploded the last 3 weeks of it's constant. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, now that changed. Oh, there's a new law. Oh, do we qualify? Do we not qualify? Oh, we need to communicate that. Oh, travel changed. So, and then obviously, employees are, trying to help employees. Oh yeah, you went to Mexico last week. Yeah, you can't come back to work now. And and just figuring out all those pieces of it has been a lot.
So what I'm hearing you say, Rebecca, is that you had to shift your focus, and it keeps shifting, right? Because there's new regulations and new laws and new problems and all of those things. So yeah, being more in a reactive mode instead of a proactive mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yes. Thank you.
Yep.
What else?
I've gone from working full time and trying to take care of a 93-year-old grandmother who has a broken femur, and well, she's recovering from that and doing well, but still at home, and having to figure out how I can go in and take care of her and not take her something. So that's been a big adjustment for us.
Yeah.
I do have a sister that helps out, but she also works a full-time job. So we're still trying to figure out, is it okay to let caregivers come in? What are they bringing with them when they come in? How do we work the schedule around? And I'm working from home this week, which has helped a little bit, but still, even though I'm working at home, having to travel to her, which is about a 30-minute drive, it makes it complicated and just kind of crazy. Although I have enjoyed the fact that I've been at home a little bit more, and I'm actually cooking for because I'm home. I've never been home here lately, and my husband and I have just we laugh about, we kind of pass in the middle of the night because he goes to work at 5 a.m. and so he's going to bed about the time I get home, and it's been crazy for about the last year and a half. So we have been able to sit down and actually have dinners that I've cooked at home, which is, so we're enjoying that factor of it. But at the same time, there are concerns about other family members that we're having to make adjustments for. Not only me, but the rest of my family as well.
Yeah. Big shift in our schedules, right? How many of you are now homeschooling kids, right? And I know we've got some teachers on. I just want to give a shout out to all the badass teachers out there that are really staying connected with our kids, still moving them forward and trying to find new ways of education, as well as keeping them where they need to be for next year. We've got some people that have to upshift because what's been happening has been demanding more of their time and attention. And we've got some folks that are being downshifted, working from home, kind of making some changes. So I'm curious, one of the things that I think is important is to get in touch with, okay, so this is happening. How does this make me feel? And just really taking some time, because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I like to push this all away and not feel it. Ever since I've started this work with Brene back in 2013, I'm giving myself permission to feel the feels. And so if you could describe what this feels like, I'm going to invite you to put it in the chat down there. If you were to use a couple words of what you're feeling right now. So I'm seeing overwhelm, some anxiety, some sadness, certainly, yes, uncertainty. Okay, deciding that I'm going to go day by day, like you're missing out on things, out of touch maybe with who you are. Okay, Wanda is deciding that I'm, my goal is to stay calm in what this looks like. What is uncertainty, what it looks like going forward, guilt, responsibility. There's probably a lot of waves that we feel, right? Rebecca, insufficient because 5th grade math is hard. Yeah, so is geometry and statistics. Sad for people, doing okay, trying to stay educated, some numbing, courage, fear. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, and I know Kim has a senior at home too, but some of the things that I kind of feel grief a little bit too, because I'm grieving what could have been, or what might have been, for the loss of memories for my son, who's a senior in high school. And so, yeah, what you're feeling, folks, guess what? It's normal. And it's just simply part of the journey. It's simply part of kind of what we're going through. When I was in high school, I took a class called Death and Dying. And there is something called the grief cycle out there, or the grief curve. Have any of you heard about this before? I think some of you are probably in this realm of career. It was introduced in 1969 by psychologist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And really the stages kind of outline what a person goes through in grief, whether that be that they lost someone that they love, or maybe they were diagnosed with a terminal illness. And there are these stages of how we get from what's happening to us right now to how do we move through this. And Brene talks about this a lot, as well as Kristen Neff in Self-Compassion, and it's about mindfulness. And mindfulness not in the way of a meditation piece, but mindfulness as in, how do I keep moving through what I'm feeling right now without getting stuck in it? And it's like this riptide, right? We don't want to get stuck in it. We have to find a way to move through it. And so I want to just show you what this grief curve looks like. Organizations have now adopted this as the change curve. And I think one of the questions that, two things that I want to ask is, number one, how do we move through this ourselves? How do we make shift happen for ourselves? And then I believe in a 3-approach philosophy is learn it, live it, lead it. And how do we lead other people through this as well? Because we are all caregivers in one way or another. And I believe that our job as caregivers and our job as leaders is to help people also move through what they're feeling, so that we can be accustomed to the new normal, whatever that looks like. So I'm going to take just a second to share my screen here so I can show you what these look like. And you'll have to let me know kind of what you're seeing, because sometimes I haven't figured this all out yet and I don't see everything. Can somebody come off mute and just tell me what you're seeing right now?
I've got a screen with the with your chart, looks like.
With the model on it? Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm curious though, because I see like nothing. I can't even see the chat. So I know it looks like you guys are putting some stuff in there, but I cannot see it. Is there a video on the side also that still shows us? Or are you seeing just the model?
I see us also.
You see us too. Okay. So I shouldn't pick my nose or do anything crazy, because I can't see that part of us either. So what this model looks like here is stage 1 is that we're basically just hit with the first shock. of what happens. And a lot of us are going to be in denial at this point. This isn't going to happen to us. Oh, like I thought, oh, the kids are going to go back to school next week. This is something that's very temporary. We might be stuck in the past. We might be, you know, kind of longing for what used to be here. A lot of times we're going to see productivity go down kind of after this initial shock of what's happening. If I was to take this back to a motorcycle analogy, I imagine that we're kind of looking in our rear view mirror, and that we're longing from where we came from, and all we want to do is turn around, get back into high gear, and break every speed limit to get back to the road that we wanted to be on, or that we expected ourselves to be on in the first place. After we've kind of going through the denial here, we're going to move into stage 2, which is more of an emotional place to be. This is where we're going to experience anger. We might be angry, some frustration. We might believe that this isn't fair, and that we're going to look to someone to blame, you know, for why we're in where we're in. If we're going to take this back to a motorcycle analogy, is that I imagine sitting at a stoplight at this point in time. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when we sit at stoplights, especially on a motorcycle, and it's one of these actuated stoplights, and it doesn't recognize that we're there. And so it never turns green. So it doesn't know we're there, and we're sitting at the light, and it's red, and it's red, and it's red, and we're impatient. And we're getting pissed off because all we want to do is get up and get going. And some of the thoughts that might run through our head is, you know what, does the city even know that this is what's happening at this stop, that this light isn't changing? I'm going to have to call the city, and we start blaming them, and we get into this frustration piece. We move into the third level here, which is more of this depression mode. The news is starting to take hold, right? 24/7 bad news, no matter what channel that you're watching. And we really come face to face with what's happening. And we can start making up stories about how we're going to be locked up in our houses forever, and we're never going to get out of where we're at. I don't know about you, but when I get to that point, it's worst case scenario. And I can be, you take it to the very end where, you know, death and is sort of what is happening there. There's a heaviness, there's a sort of gloom and doom. We might withdraw, we might isolate, we might sink into a place that we don't think that we're going to be able to get out of. At this point, it's all about Netflix and chill, right? We might eat our emotions, if you will. We might consume more addictive type of things. We might drink more. We've got some numbing activities that are happening. And in our motorcycle analogy, we just decide that we're going to get off the road altogether, that we're going to sell this motorcycle, and we are never going to ride again. Once we hit that stage, the next stage of this is what she calls experiment, where we start to accept it. We start to give ourselves permission to really live in this moment and to feel our way through it. We might realize that, you know what, I can't fight this, so I might as well be prepared for it. And this is the point where we might realize that there's something greater that we can be doing, and we might feel a little bit more motivated to try something new, to start looking on the bright side, if you will, to try something maybe we've always wanted to try. This might be us reconnecting with our kids. It might be having, you know, date night with our spouse, where we think of something creative that we're going to do. This might be a time where we learn a new skill. Maybe we take a cooking class, or a writing course that's online. Maybe we learn how to play piano or do karate or whatever that looks like. Maybe we reestablish some good habits, realize that we haven't been to the gym, and maybe now's the time where we have time to work out, eat better, maybe read books, do the things that we haven't had time for, deep cleaning your house, right? And so bringing this back to where we're sitting at the stoplight, maybe we decide that we're going to savor the moment that we're in right now, that we're going to open our eyes, we're going to take a look around, we're going to enjoy the sun on our back and the company that we're in. And then we're going to move into stage number 5, which is more of an acceptance stage, where we decide that we're going to come to grips with what this new normal is all about. We're going to decide that we can't stop it from happening, but we can decide who we're going to be in this moment. And we decide what we're going to bring to this moment and how we're going to move through this change. Bringing it back to motorcycles, that I'm going to whip out the map and I'm going to find where the detour is. And I'm going to decide that I'm going to take that detour because this detour is going to get me back on the main road, and that I'm going to decide to take that. And then kind of the final stage is where we hit full acceptance, that we're kind of in the delta, where we've taken the stories and everything that we've been through, and we emerge to where we're fully invested into what this new normal looks like, and that we're fully integrated, and the changes are permanent, kind of moving forward. And I really believe that in those last few stages, this is going to define, I think, who we are in our lives. And when, you know, we're face down, like this depression stage 3 mode stage is that we're face down, and we have to decide, how are we going to come out of this? And that we're deciding that there are things that we can't control, but we can decide how we're going to react to it, and then kind of walk in what those changes are. I'm going to bring us back to, by a show of hands, how many of you have experienced stage 1, where we're in denial, we're kind of shocked with what's happening? How many of you have felt that? Yeah, I'd say most of us have, right? What about stage 2? This whole idea of anger, frustration, these emotions are kind of coming up. What's anybody feeling that stage or been through that stage of pissed offness? Why is this happening? This is really messing up my business. I finally got some momentum. Anybody feel that? Yep. What about stage 3? Kind of Netflix and chill, we're isolating, we're kind of, yeah, I've been there. I think I'm coming out of it. What about stage 4, where, okay, I can't do anything about it. I'm going to be motivated now to start moving through this. How many of you have felt that one? Yeah. Okay. And stage 5, acceptance. This is what it's going to be. So I just am going to have to deal with it and just move through it. Anybody kind of start to feel that? Yeah. So when I teach motorcycle class on day 2, one of the things that I teach is I teach people how to shift through gears. And we basically set up this big oval where we give our students the time and the space and the ability to kind of start to use their new skills now. And they're going on kind of a straight stretch there. They're getting their speed up, they're getting their gears up. And in order to be efficient and to use the maximum power of this machine, they've got to shift into 3rd gear. So they're shifting, and then they come into a curve. Well, we all know that if you were to stay in a high gear, you're going to chug through this curve because you don't have enough power. So they have to clutch and downshift into 2nd gear because they're going slower. And so then they come around this curve and they're starting to pick up some speed on the straightaway. In order to use optimal power in this machine, they're going to have to shift into 3rd gear. Okay, and if we look at what this model is, we're not going to go through the 1st stage and the 2nd stage and the 3rd stage and the 4th stage. We're not going to get to stage 4 and go, woohoo, I've shifted all the way through this change curve now, and I'm going to keep gearing up into 5th gear. This is real world motorcycle application. Sometimes we're going to go back down to stage number 2, or we're going to go to stage number 4 and then back to stage number 3. We might hit 5th gear for a little while, and things start to happen that make us feel out of control. A new announcement, a new shutdown procedure, a new, shelter in place. We don't have shelter in place yet where I live, and we might shift back down into gear number 2 and shift back up. I think what I'm learning about this change curve is that we have the ability to shift our way through it if we know what the 4 or 5 stages are as we're going through it. I'm curious, what stage are you in right now? You can hop on and share it, or you can put it in the chat. But what stage are you in right now?
Lisa, am I on?
Who said that? Jean.
Jean, yes.
Yes, you are on.
Jean, yes. I just found out I had to download Zoom. I'm in all stages. I'm dealing with my father going nuts at the. I just found out I had to download Zoom. I'm in all stages. I'm dealing with my father going nuts at the.
Or hearing you twice there, Jean. I don't know.
I think that stopped it.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Now, my father is doing crazy things at his memory care place. And I'm concerned that I'm going to have to take him out of there. And I've just stopped everything because we are in shelter here, and we are in a over 55 community where, it's bad news. But anyway, I'm in the process with all this trying to get groceries. I mean, I can hardly get groceries. So I'm in the back of my mind, though, I want to do my stuff online. I put together Brené's stuff and some other stuff and put together the stuff that I've been doing. And, my question is, how do you do all this stuff online, and maybe even get paid? Because, of course, I'm not sub-teaching now. And my second dog has to have bladder surgery for stones. So it's been challenging, but I really feel like we'll get through it.
Yeah. So you're kind of bouncing between a few right now. Yeah, we're feeling all of them, right?
Yeah, and I when I try to focus on one thing, then there's a distraction, or my dad's calling saying I've piled up all my clothes in the middle of my room and I'm leaving. Dementia.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Jean. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of normal, or common humanity, I think.
But it is warm here. It's going to be 80 today.
La 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 la.
Beam me down, Scotty.
Yeah, exactly. What else? What else is everybody kind of feeling? What stages are you at? I'm seeing a lot of bouncing between.
I would have to agree. I'm Joan, and I would have to agree that maybe everybody is, but I know that I've been in all stages. I still go back to the depression some nights, after we've been through the whole day of it, and you watch the news, or you get a notification and you see something that's really sad. I think the sadness is what, pushes me back to a depression mode. But then, I'm doing online classes, I'm taking a marketing class. I'm really excited that I said yes to you to come to this. I'm definitely I'm already looking forward to every week. And so I do see that I'm bouncing back and forth between all the different stages of it.
Yeah.
So, and that is probably normal.
Yeah. What else? Kelly, do you want to share that, please? What you shared in the chat? I'd love to hear you. And I know you have littles at home.
Yeah.
That's okay. We want to hear them too.
Yeah.
I just feel like as a leader in the school, I was really forced to
have time to really be in those initial stages, which I think are important stages. So right now I'm in acceptance because we're forced to be, but I know that once things slow down and we kind of get into this and feel it and see it and what's going to come from this, like I have a feeling I'll spend some more time in those beginning stages.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. How many of you feel like you've been forced into, because of the role that you play, been forced to move through this a lot faster? Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing that too. And as leaders, gosh, right? That's our responsibility. It's our job to lead people courageously through a process. But I also think that what we can't forget is we're going to go through this change cycle ourselves. And I think that we got to give ourselves some grace and some self-compassion to recognize and to stop and slow down and recognize what stage we're in. So for those of you guys that have kind of started to move through these things, whether it have been you've been forced through it or you're kind of having this reckoning that I need to move through this, what are some of the things that have helped you move from one stage to the other? Go ahead and unmute yourselves.
I tried to, I feel like there's just so much information coming at us all day long. And I'm like, I like crave it now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my phone, what's happening now? So I've tried to kind of limit actually like watching the news and my notifications on my phone, because it just gets me, like, I feel like I'm like addicted to it now. I'm like, oh gosh, is it going to get worse? Oh, it is? Okay. I don't know. So I'm limiting how much exposure I have to that.
Yeah, understanding the triggers, right? Like, oh, I'm triggered by this. I need to, yeah. What else?
I think just keeping busy, making sure that I put a routine in place for myself, where when I get up in the morning, I get up and I still let the alarm ring. And I get up with the alarm and I, work out a little bit at the house and just have a set routine that keeps me still feeling like it's normal, because it's a normal work day. You have to do what you have to do. And I did the Netflix thing. I've already watched 2 series of what I watched all in a row. So I did that already. And it's so easy to do that. Oh my gosh, you can just sit there forever.
Yeah.
But I think routine is definitely worked for me. I need more of it.
Yes, having a routine. Thanks, Joan. What else?
I think the routine's been the biggest thing for me, just making sure that I'm still up at the same time I would go to work, and making sure I'm ready to do work at the same time I would be in the office, and just keeping that routine going. Keeping my meal time at the same time. I'm not mindlessly snacking all day because I'm home, and just kind of keeping that routine going.
Yes.
I think for me, it's been actually quite the opposite. I've allowed myself to get away from the constant structure, get away from the constant crazy pace, allow myself to sleep in a little bit, and allow myself to enjoy things that I have been missing in my life for the last 4 years, because it's been such a crazy work schedule. And when things get chaotic, things get stressful at work, we feel like we're taking onslaughts of negativity, or people that are really in a high level of emotion, really just stepping back, setting down everything, including phones and TV, getting outside, taking a walk. I think Brendan Burchard says he gets up every 50 minutes from his computer and does these stretching routines. And I know he's highly regimented, but right, the tapping. So yeah, so doing those things and reminding my team to do those things as well. So
Oh, I love that, Wanda. Okay. So how many of you, and I saw Aaron give me a sign, so I feel like, Aaron, you just gave me permission to go here. By show of hands, how many of you have ever experienced what Wanda's talking about, this idea of full body tapping? Aaron, Kim, Tanya, Rebecca, Jean Kelly, Amber. So really what it is, and I teach this or I use this as a way to bring energy back into a room during my workshops. And gosh, is this something that I make you all do right now? Yes.
Let's do it. Why not?
Okay. Here we go. Wherever you are, I would like you to stand up. I'm glad I put pants on. Okay, so you're not going to be able to see the whole thing, but we're going to start at the bottom. And what you do is you cup your hands like this, and we're going to start at our ankles and work ourselves all the way up, and we're going to hit ourselves hard. Not this easy tapping, okay, but we're going to start tapping all our 1 inch at a time, all the way up. Okay, get your bomb down there too. Okay, now we're gonna start on the other leg, the bottom. Work your way up. Wanna hit yourself hard, firmly, get your bum. Okay, now we start with our sides, arm out at the bottom. Okay. Work yourself all the way up there. I always say the girls get in the way on that one. And then start on the bottom here, all the way up. Okay, now we're gonna start here on our arm, all the way up to our shoulders. This is the hard part. Drop and relax your shoulder while really giving yourself a pat on the back. Okay, other arm, start at the wrist, move your way up, drop your shoulder. Okay, and then how I always end is we're gonna be in a little bit of a squat position, leaning forward, small of your back. We're gonna breathe in and out for 5, and if you were off mute, I would hear you breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like to end it with a little bit of just rocking back and forth from your toes to your heels. Okay. Give yourself a hand. I feel like I just did that all by myself.
I was here.
Can I get you guys to come off mute and give me a wahoo or a yeehaw or something like that?
Woohoo!
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yay.
So that is one of the things that we can do to keep our energy up. I know it's every time I do this in a class, people are like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. But then when you gauge your energy level at the end, you're like, okay, I feel better. I feel focused. I can, kick some royal ass right now. So let's just keep on moving. So, thanks, Aaron. Give me some love there. Feel better. Whew. Awesome. Okay. So, we were talking about what we're doing to kind of move through these things. And I believe that we have to intentionally decide how we're going to shift in our lives, because I would rather make shift happen myself than having it happen to me when I'm not ready for it. And for me, the intentionality has been kind of getting back to basics, right? This power hour is a result of that, because I tell you what, for about 2 weeks, I was in my house, not doing anything. I gave myself permission to Netflix and chill. I'm trying to reconnect with my kids. I'm trying to teach them life skills. Now we're putting together kind of a menu where everybody takes a night because mom ain't gonna cook the whole time. And I'm trying to teach them how to do that and do laundry. And we're talking about feelings. We're talking about what they're missing with their friends in terms of, you know, mourning what was gone, but we're also trying to look forward with hope and look forward with intentionality and realizing that, you know what, we're not in the bottom of this. And this isn't where we're going to stay. And I've decided that I needed to get back to basics, to connecting with you all, to reading more, to writing more, and really taking this time. I'm not gonna pivot my business, but there's been some things that I haven't had time or the confidence or the courage to do. And so I'm just really taking this time to reflect on what matters most, give myself some grace. But guess what? Lazy Lisa shows up too, and I need to kick her in the butt some days. And so being really intentional about what my goals are, and being realistic about not freaking out the next 90 days. My business is divinely led, and I'm standing in my 2 values of courage and faith right now. And that's what's important to me. So I want to hear your declarations. How are you going to intentionally make shift happen? You may have already shared some of the things you're doing right now, but I want to hear what's happening in the next, what intentionality are you making in the next 90 days to really move yourself through this and make shift happen? So if you want to unmute yourself, hop on. I would love to hear about what your commitment is.
Lisa, as you know, I started some of the training with the place where my dad is. It's a memory care and for the staff, and they love the first part of it. And so this happened and I didn't, you know, I can't even go in there. So my goal is to put this on. I think I'll use Zoom because I'm doing this comp anyway, and that will help me develop whatever I'm going to do in the new world, because it's all gonna have to be online for a long time.
Yep.
And so I'm going to set an intention each day to do, and you guys listen to this, Miranda Esconde, sorry about my dogs, White. She has short exercises that, trust me, are very effective on YouTube, and they get, if you're on the computer all day, there's one on shoulders, that's just fantastic. But anyway, to do that every day, and then, you know, check and see if the owner wants to go forward with this online. I'll practice with do the Zoom and get them set up. He's real techie, and just move forward. And I will set a time and just deal with the distractions as they come.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Jean.
Yep.
Who else? What else?
Hi, I had made a decision a year ago to launch it's a new women's t-shirt company, and that's why I was driving for Uber, was to self-fund it. And when I stopped driving for Uber, I felt like it came to a screeching halt. But just in the last 2 weeks, I stopped driving about 4 weeks ago, and I've reset some goals, and the pattern makers are at work, and I just talked with the fabric guy yesterday. So I did set a 90-day kind of a whole plan on how to get this launched in the next 90 days. And I know he was well-meaning, but I had a friend 2 days ago that said, you know, this is the absolute wrong time for you to be doing this. And I really felt that was such, you know, they were more looking at the negative of what you can't do through this instead of what you can do.
Yep.
And so I'm moving forward and excited. The fabric company that I wanted to work with had shut down, and the state of California just deemed them essential and allowed them to open back up. So when I met with the fabric guy yesterday, he's like, you know, we can make the fabric now. And a week ago, that wouldn't have happened. So I felt like that was definitely, God working in lot. Isn't it interesting how he works in like so many, uh, he's like, his hand is in every project, no matter what it is, because it's just interesting to watch, like in the fabric industry, all the mills in California are reopening and making masks. And I'm getting these emails in the last couple of days from all these different companies telling us what they're doing. So that's exciting news. If you look for the negative news, it's there, but there's exciting news also.
Yep.
And so I felt like that's one way that I keep going, where I keep my spirits up instead of down, is looking for the good news.
Yeah. What's possible. Absolutely.
Watching Brene on 60 Minutes was exciting.
Yep. That was cool.
Yeah, that was very cool.
All right.
Anyway,
I got time for maybe 2 more. I know some of you have got some big stuff, or not big as in huge, but like big stuff to you, like what you're working on.
So this is Tanya. Right now what I'm trying to do is just give myself a couple permission slips. I had to inventory my resources and my skills really quick. I've been tasked with really building the resilience and supporting both the basic needs and the emotional needs of our staff as we go through this. And we have about 400 direct support essential staff who are showing up every single day to go to work and going home to their families, and they're worried. And it creates a lot of fear for me, because I feel like I can't do enough. I can't step in and do their job, but I can only do what I can do. I'm also giving myself permission to celebrate the good things about this, because I do have a daughter who's a senior and is missing out on so much. But I'm also getting to play games with her every night, and I'm getting and allowing myself to celebrate those moments without minimizing the giant grief and the losses that we're experiencing too.
Yes. Very cool. Thank you, Tanya. Yeah. Good luck with supporting staff. It's tough. One more.
I can share.
Okay. Thanks, Erin.
I don't know if I've been sad or tired, or I think there was some really scary uncertainty. I lead a school, and so in an urban part of Minneapolis, and so thinking about kids and food and devices and possibilities and losing learning and safe and not safe, and that became really overwhelming for me, and it felt very I felt out of my control. And having students come to school is part of the control we have in servicing them, is that I know they get a breakfast, I know they get a lunch, I know they get a hug, I know they get. And so I don't have an answer for any of those things, but what I do know right now for me personally is that I refuse to walk back into that building the same person I walked out. And I am taking every opportunity in every moment to do the things that I should have been doing, I could have been doing, I'm going to do. I have no idea what it looks like working 40 hours a week. I'm working a lot, but I'm also in my tub. I'm also listening to all of my podcasts. I'm also reading my Bible. I'm also, sitting with my kids. I'm also cooking dinner. I'm also having dinner with my family. And I am going to take every moment of every day and love it, embrace it, be different. And I do not live in fear. And I'm just feel so grateful for the time that I'm having right now. I don't know what I will look like on the other side of this, because I don't know if I can't not have dinner with my family now. I don't know if I cannot have 4 of us laying in my king size bed watching a show together and snuggling. I don't know if I cannot not do that now, because now I know what it feels like to do it, and have the time and space to do it. And so I'm just loving this moment, and I'm learning so much, and I am so thankful for what I'm going to look like on the other side of it. And my commitment is networking, making connections, and being more of who I'm supposed to be.
Very cool. Thank you, Erin. I love it. I love it. I think with intentionality, we're all going to look different. And I think it's going to be a better version of who we are, closer to the women that we're supposed to be. I want to bring us, get back to the comments I'm seeing. Kim's not going to waste this time. She's committed, the whole too busy. That's not an excuse anymore, right? Cleaning out one drawer a day, whatever the project is, big or little. Looking at some stuff that she, on her to-do list. Oh, Fee was wondering what the name of the YouTube exercises were. Jean, can you just pop that in the chat for us? The gal's name. And then, oh yeah, Michelle's trying to keep everything manageable. Right time. I love the Ephesians 4, is it verse 12? For such a time as this. We're created for such a time as this. Amber's committing to being present in these virtual calls and making time to check in with people who, yeah, that we want to make sure everyone else is okay too. Don't forget to fill your own cup, PS. Okay, guys? Her job is continuing through it, but everything's different. Trying to stay with a human connection. Erin, you're getting some love. Michelle's trying to stay connected, being inspired by all of you. She's not going to live in fear. Getting some through some her to-dos with grace as well. 414, thank you. Miranda Esconde White, if you will. I want to thank you guys all for showing up today, not just physically, but here for yourself, for each other. I think it's important that we meet each other with empathy and grace and self-compassion, and that we meet ourselves that way as well. This is my first power hour. Good, thumbs up. Did you get something actionable from it that you're gonna go kick ass now? Okay, thank you. Weekly is what I'm thinking right now. Yes?
Sounds great.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Okay, before you all go, one thing that I will be doing, because someone kicked my ass about this too, she's on the call right now, is maybe part of this will be a new book that I'm reading called Untamed by Glennon Doyle. Anybody read this? Oh, Kim got it. Anybody got it? Erin? Yeah. So this is something that I would like to go through maybe in this power hour. And I guess I'll open it up. I don't know exactly what this looks like yet, because I just am giving myself permission to go to this point. So I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but stay connected with me, whether it be on Facebook or in the Power Up community. If you don't have access or are not a member of the Power Up community, if you want to email me, lisa@fullthrottleliving.com, I will send you an invitation to it. If you've ever gotten an email from me, it's in the very bottom signature place there. And so if you're not in the Power Up community, please come there. It's kind of where we continue our conversations, and it's kind of, power all the time. And I'm committing to being in that community more often and sharing some more resources with you. So thank you all. You are charged now. Once you know, you cannot go back anymore. So I am charging you with making shift happen in your life and in the lives of other people. And I want to leave you with my life's quote, which is, life is an exhilarating ride for those brave enough to climb on. And I know that you are all courageous and brave leaders. So thank you for all being here today. I'm grateful for you. And until next week, see you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Lisa.
Bye.